Welcome back to the Dean Obeidallah Show. Right now, so happy to have on Ben Cohen, he's co-founder of Ben and Jerry's Ice Cream, which opened in 1978 in Vermont, where Bernie Sanders is from, who's been on our show a lot of times. And Ben, as people know, is also a tireless activist on various issues that need attention. Ben, nice to meet you. Thanks so much for being on.
Great to be here with you, Dean.
So talk, first of all, what inspired you, not now the activism, we're going to go through Up in Arms campaign, all that, but what's your earliest memory of activism? When did it start with you in your life?
Wow, that's an interesting question.
I know your company's been doing activism for decades. That's all well documented. Is that where it began with the company?
No, my earliest activism was a campaign called WSSIP.
Hmm.
And, where I went to elementary school, in the boys' bathrooms, there were no doors on the stalls. And I felt like that was somewhat an offensive invasion of my privacy, and nobody else liked it either. And so I started this campaign called WSSIP, which was "We shall sit in peace," sometimes said "We shall shit in peace."
Right.
And I guess that was my first activism.
And you were in the school. You were like a kid. You were a student at this time.
Yeah, I was a kid, subjected to that.
That's interesting. It's a lot of times, right? Politics is local, and this is very local to the back,
Very, very local.
and very specific. But maybe on some level, that taught you that activism can work. Did it succeed? It succeeded, or didn't it?
Well, it did not exceed. Well, it's like a lot of activism. It did not succeed while I was there, but I believe there are doors on the stalls now.
Well, Ben Cohen's first activism first, folks, was about a bathroom and privacy. So let's talk about your new campaign, Up in Arms. And by the way, earlier today I spoke to Congressman Mark Pocan, who voted against the military budget, which you've been really, your website breaks it down so well. We're talking about over $1 trillion spent on the military budget, and they approved it in the House. So tell us about your concerns about how much we're spending and how this money could be used far better to help people.
It's absurd. We spend more than the next 9 countries combined. The Pentagon budget plus the VA budget, which is a lot of soldiers that have been injured, and now the Homeland Security budget. If you put them all together, it's about 75% of the expendable income of the country. And so all the other things that people care about, that they need every day of their lives, a decent house that you can afford, childcare that doesn't drive you into bankruptcy, health care, fully funded school budgets. We don't get any of that because they've essentially robbed our money and our souls and kind of turned us all into mass killers. It's amazing, when you put billions of dollars into the Pentagon, it doesn't really buy that much. But you take that same amount of money and use it for people, and it's amazing what you could do. They tell us that, there's nothing really we can do about hunger in our country and around the world. But the reality is that if you took 5%, just 5% of the Pentagon budget, you could provide food security for every kid in the United States, plus save all of the 3 million kids a year that are dying around the world of starvation.
Wow.
I mean, they tell you, these problems, we really care about them, but we just don't have enough money. It's bullshit. We're the richest country in the history of the world. We got enough money. And, if you look at how the US ranks versus other countries, I mean, we fall far behind in terms of education. We fall far behind in terms of access to healthcare. I mean, are we on a video
Yeah,
activity?
I mean, it's SiriusXM radio, but yeah, I have the video and I'll post the video and there's a nice chart.
Yeah, I mean, you always hear USA is number one. Well, it's not in any of the things that count that matter to us every day.
Right. And the chart shows that the USA is number 46 in maternal mortality, 43 in environmental performance, 20 in standard of living. The number one things are income inequality, incarcerated citizens, number one in military spending, and number one in weapon sales because we export horror. That's what we export war for profit. And, Congressman Pocan said today, we were speaking about it, that if you even talk to members of Congress, many of them would say who vote for it are like, they get it, but it's a jobs program back in their district. That's the ingenious part of the military defense industry, putting different parts of the construction of different weaponry in various different districts in red and blue. So people feel like they have to vote for it. It's not a justification that we would agree with, but he said that's the ingenious nature of it.
Yeah, I mean, they call it political engineering.
Yeah.
So, they come up with some kind of crazy weapon system that, usually doesn't really work as advertised and usually is way over budget. And the first step is to get Congress to approve initial production, well, approve the research. And then the second step is what they call political engineering. Let's make sure that some little part of this particular weapon system is made in every congressional district in the United States. But, the reality is that if it's really about jobs, create a hell of a lot more jobs if you spend the money on education or healthcare or, just putting it back in people's pockets.
You're absolutely right. I'm talking with Ben Cohen, co-founder of Ben and Jerry's Ice Cream, and his campaign Up in Arms. I saw that more than 20 former military and intelligence officials and experts have joined this campaign. So how important is to have people who used to be military officials in this campaign, and what do they share with you from the inside point of view?
Well, I think it's really important because, when an ice cream man or regular John Q. citizen or Jane Q. citizen, says, the military budget is ridiculous. We ought to cut it. Then they bring up the guys in uniform, the Joint Chiefs of Staff, saying, "Oh my God, there's more enemies out there. We need more money into the Pentagon. We need military experts on our side to validate the argument that we're making, which is really just common sense. I mean, why should we have to be spending 500 billion more dollars than, say, Russia and China combined spend on their militaries? I mean, it's a matter of overkill. I mean, I'm down with deterrence, and I'm down with a robust military whose purpose is to defend the geographical borders of the United States. That would be a true Department of Defense. But our military is designed to essentially control the world. I mean, we have 800 military bases around the world. The country that has the next most has like 4. I was growing up. I mean, I used to think, yeah, the U.S. has a lot of military bases around the world. Every country must have a lot of military bases around the world, but they don't. And so, that's why the budget is so high, because we're not trying to defend the United States. We're preparing for war, and we engage in the endless wars around the world that suck up huge amounts of money. I mean, when you count in, taking care of veterans, the injured, their families, it's trillions and trillions of dollars. And it's so crazy because I don't think that the mothers, fathers, sisters, brothers, sons, and daughters in our country have any desire to kill the mothers, fathers, sisters, and brothers, sons, and daughters in some other country. And yet, that's what our government is doing in our name and with our money.
And speaking of wars around the world, I mean, you've been very outspoken on the war in Gaza and the United States of America's role in arming Netanyahu and what we're seeing play out. What inspired you to stand up? You even got arrested at a Senate hearing, standing up about Gaza and standing up for the humanity of the people who live there.
You keep on hearing. I kept on hearing about all the deaths in Gaza and the bombings and the destruction, and I couldn't stand it. I mean,
Right.
Everybody has their limits, and I finally, reached my limit, and I told the guy I work with that, I want to go and chain myself to the White House fence. And he said, well, you can't chain yourself to the White House fence anymore. It's been militarized.
Yep.
And sure enough, I was in DC and I tried to go up to the White House fence, and, there's this big moat. There's another fence in front of the White House fence, and it's patrolled by guys with big guns. And so he said, well, what we can do is, we think we can get you into a, congressional hearing and you can protest there. And I said, you really think that's going to work? And, it ended up being just about the most successful protest I've ever participated in. Because, it struck a chord. I mean,
Yep.
the huge majority of our population is totally against this slaughter. And yet the government continues to do it, and we got to vote those fuckers out.
Well put, Ben. I could not agree with you more. And it's remarkable, especially among Democrats, when you see polling showing 75, 80% want a ceasefire. I saw a poll from Pew of 18 to 34-year-olds. Only 9% approve of what's going on in Gaza. That's not a typo. Less than 10% of all 18, not just Democrats, of all younger people, they see the horrors in Gaza that is completely unconnected from what happened 2 years ago, which was a horrific terrorist attack. We're 2 years later, and you're watching people be slaughtered and starved and their homes being destroyed and killed. And I've had doctors on my show just this week and who were in Gaza, and the stories are unlike anything I've ever heard. It's like something from World War I, and you wonder how the world let that happen. We've let this happen on our watch here. It's just astounding to me.
Yeah, it is. And like I say, I mean, if we don't vote those guys out, we've essentially said, this is what America is. I mean, that's a big problem for me. I mean, in terms of my granddaughter, I mean, I grew up, I was a gullible little kid. I thought that our country was about justice, fairness, equality, and now how can I say that to my granddaughter when we're slaughtering innocent people, when we're gifting the weapons to slaughter innocent people to Israel?
I agree with you. It's been making a lot of people question a lot of things about our policy, and also big money in politics, again, in both cases, with the military, with, aid to Netanyahu, against public opinion. It's big money in politics. It's such a corrosive cancer. And that is something that elected officials don't have to listen to us if they can have their campaigns funded by big money donors. And that's part of the problem, to get it out. So I saw that Ben & Jerry's wants to get free Ben & Jerry's. You have a new campaign. You have a lot of campaigns. I mean, Ben, you're really out there doing a lot of work.
The amazing thing about these two campaigns is that, the one I've been focused on, for decades is the military industrial congressional complex,
Right.
abbreviated Mick. And now the new campaign to free Ben and Jerry's is to free it from this new company that's starting up to own Ben and Jerry's, which is the Magnum Ice Cream Company, is also abbreviated Mick. So, it's just the same old, same old, same old.
And what are they doing to you I've seen the videos, but can you share with people?
Sure. What's happening is that, Ben and Jerry's was a publicly held company.
Right.
And against my wishes, it ended up getting sold to Unilever back in the year 2000. But as part of that acquisition, we established the independent board of Ben and Jerry's, which has legally binding responsibilities. And one of those responsibilities is to oversee and have authority over Ben and Jerry's social mission. So over the past few years, Ben and Jerry's has wanted to raise its voice to speak out for racial justice, speak out against the slaughter in Gaza, speak out in favor of supporting the student protesters and supporting freedom of speech. We've wanted to speak out in favor of DEI, and Unilever has squashed all of that. They've prevented that.
Wow.
And right now, so a year ago, Unilever announced that they want to sell their entire ice cream division. It includes about 20 different brands all around the world. And the two big ones are Ben and Jerry's and Magnum. And so they've decided so that's what they announced. And at that time, we went to Unilever and we said, well, as long as you're looking to sell off your whole ice cream thing, why don't you please carve out Ben and Jerry's and let us find some socially aligned investors to buy it so that Ben and Jerry's can be Ben and Jerry's and
Right.
Unilever can be Unilever. And they refused to entertain that idea. And so now, a year later, they're spinning off their ice cream division into this new company that they're calling the Magnum Ice Cream Company, Mick. And so we're going to the Magnum Ice Cream Company and we're saying, please, you be you, let Ben and Jerry's be Ben and
Right.
Jerry's. Why don't you allow some socially aligned investors to buy Ben and Jerry's, and then we can get rid of this conflict, this ongoing conflict. I mean, the independent board of Ben and Jerry's has actually gone so far as to sue Unilever because of their incursions into controlling the social mission of the company. And, that's no way to run an airline. Just
I don't understand. Why wouldn't they let you try to they can make the money they want and the dollar amount they wanted if you get socially aligned investors who come up with the number, and they're not even interested in that. That doesn't make sense to me. What's going on?
I think they believe, or they believe for now, that the Magnum Ice Cream Company will be more successful having more brands, having a very popular brand like Ben and Jerry's in their whole stable of brands in terms of, I don't know, distribution, other efficiencies of scale.
Right.
But what we're in the process of proving to them is that, Ben and Jerry's customers are very loyal and committed to the social mission of the company, and that as they try to destroy the social mission, they're actually destroying what's so valuable, the equity of the brand. I mean, people buy Ben and Jerry's for two reasons. One is that it's great ice cream,
Right.
And the other is that they feel really good about the stands and the activities that the company does to support justice and improve the quality of life for people. And I think Unilever and Magnum, they don't understand it that well because that's not the world they live in. I mean,
Right.
the purpose of their companies is to maximize profits, and they don't have any other missions besides that. And
I,
they don't
I,
really understand it.
Right. I mean, I saw an interview with you where you made an excellent point that your social activism isn't a detriment, it is a benefit to the company. Like you're saying here. And you would think they bought Ben and Jerry, they would understand that is an important component, that the ice cream itself is great. We all know it. I've had it countless times in my life. But for others too, there's the added benefit of it. And for the life of me, it just seems like bad business objectively not to allow you to continue to be your brand that you want, or then at least allowing you to take, if you can get the investors, buy the company back and then go in the direction that you believe in your heart it should go.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think, I imagine that a lot of the executives that are running these companies, a lot of their friends, they're not that crazy about the social mission of Ben and Jerry's.
Right.
And that's, that's who they hang out with. And, so for them, they don't think that the social mission helps to sell ice cream. They think it hurts it.
I don't. Well, you're gonna have to start Jerry and Ben's ice cream. Put this behind you. Move on with your own stuff. And by the way, I should have mentioned earlier, Up in Arms. The website is upinarms.life, Life, for people to find more. Before we wrap up, Ben, any other campaigns you're working on that I may have missed? This is great stuff. Military, Gaza, free Ben and Jerry's. That it is remarkable to think that the company, the overarching corporate company, doesn't get what the brand is about, but their dollars and cents, and not the smartest way. So, anything else, Ben? Nothing else want to plug before I let you go, my friend? In terms of your activism, I think it's great work.
Thank you very much, Dean. I just leave you with this quote that I saw: "Action is the antidote to despair." So,
Very much so. Well,
yeah.
Ben, it was very nice meeting you. Thanks for being on, and thank you for your activism as someone who likes the ice cream and admires where your heart is and where your activism is. And I saw you on Instagram making some great videos. Ben is out there. It's entertaining and has a lot of heart, and you're raising important points. So keep up doing your work, and I look forward to hopefully chat with you in the future. If you want to come back on, you're welcome. Any new campaign you come up with or anything else, please, love to have you back on.
Thanks, Dean. Thanks for licking and loving.
You got it, my friend.